I figured that my snowmen were starting to become a little lonely. So lately I've been working on making a snow woman. Please stick around to see how it's done. Hey gang, welcome back to the Alley Cat Workshop. So I got a fun one again today. So a couple of weeks ago I issued a new video on how to turn the snowman, slightly different technique. And since then I've started to think that maybe I should expand the lineup. So I've created a new design which is kind of like a female snowman, if you wish, or snow woman. Really easy to do. Big difference is that the hat has a different shape, and of course the body has a different shape. So instead of having, like in this example, there's 3 snowballs. In this case, there's kind of 1 snowball that's tapered into a bit of a skirt. So that's really the only 2 differences, is the hat and the skirt or the dress as you want. So I'm going to show you in this video how to turn the snow woman. I'm going to skip a lot of steps because a lot of it is very common or very similar to the normal snowman. But what I will focus on is how to turn the hat and how to turn the skirt. Really easy to do, really fun to do. Why am I doing all this? In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be at a Christmas market. It's the first time I'm going to do this, so I'm working on a total of about 30 to 35 snowmen for the exhibit, and hopefully I get a chance to sell that. I'll post a video on that day whenever it comes around. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully this turns out to be a good day for the workshop, so to speak. All right, gang, let's get started. All right, so I'm working on these in batches. What you're seeing here are 6 blanks for snowman, snow woman, and for each what I did is I turned them into round, and I put a tenon on the bottom, and I also drilled the hole that would accept the tea light candle. So I've got these are blanks. Originally this was 3 1/4 inch wide blocks that are turned into round. So I've got a 6-inch model and I've got a 12-inch model. Now I'm not going to make necessarily a 12-inch high snowman slash snow woman, but what I will do is I will turn most of the blank, at least 3/4 of the blank, into this. So right now I've got 1 blank mounted, and that's what I'm going to turn next. All right, so let's start with the hat. Just to explain a little bit, the hat for the original snowman kind of looks like a chimney on a steam locomotive, and that's a design that I'm going to keep for the original snowman. The snow woman has a bit more of a rounded shape. The other thing too is that the hat is, I don't know if you can see this properly, but it's a little bit shorter, or not as tall and not as high as the original hat. So it gives a nicer proportion. So let's more rounded shape, smaller hat. In this case, there's a bit of a wider brim. So let's start with that. All right, I'm going to start by transferring lines here onto the blank. So this is going to be the top of the brim. This is going to be the bottom of the brim, the head ball, excuse me, the cove, and the bottom of the feet. All right, so that's good to start. All right, that's good. Now on the side there's quite a bit of material here. What I want to be able to make this hat a little bit not as thick, or maybe not as long. I'll tell you what, I'm going to add another line. This is roughly the middle of the hat. And so we're gonna use that as a high point and round things off both left and right. And I want to talk about this last cut a little bit more. So what you've seen me do are 3 pull cuts across the top of the hat, and that's the way that I found to make this look really clean. In my original video, what I used to do is a push cut across, and I would get a lot of tool marks, but this has really cleaned things up quite nicely. So I would recommend that you follow this technique instead of the previous one. So again, pull cut 2 or 3 times across the top. It cleans it up rather nicely. Let's keep going. Let's get back to the brim of the hat as I was talking earlier. Notice that it's not very clean right now, right? It's not as crisp. There's still some material that's left. Also, the bottom of the hat has been turned roughly. So what I've found is if I use, let me pull that out, a detail spindle gouge, which has a very, not sure how you would call the profile, but it's a very long profile. And I do an initial cut like this, and I push it in, it really cleans up the bottom of the brim. What I also found is that if I had turned the brim of the hat, rounded it off, I would invariably get a bunch of catches. But if I left this edge nice and square, then I was able to do my cut without getting a catch. So let's try that now. Let's see if that still holds true. That's a lot nicer. That's really clean. Now I can do the brim, just round it up a little bit, and that'll do the trick. Let's keep going. All right, the next section here is about turning the body and the skirt. What I like to do is I start from where the skirt point will be, and I cut a cove by taking some material out from both sides, and eventually just digging up the skirt itself. And then finally what you do is that you just round up the body of the snow woman so that you have a nice shape that goes from top to bottom. It's pretty easy to do. It just looks really elegant. All right, so that's pretty much how I want to turn my snow woman. Short, stubby, this is the model. So I've got my hat, I've got my brim. Maybe I'll work a little bit more on the brim, but you know, it's a little thick here, so maybe I'll work a little bit more on that. But I've got my hat pretty much done, I've got my head done, I've got my body with the skirt. What would be left to do would be, let me take an original model here, so it would be to turn the eyes. First of all, drill a couple of holes here, 3 holes, so 1 for the nose, 2 for the eyes. Turn the eyes, turn the nose, glue that in there, and then put 3 coats of spray lacquer on there, and then you're good to go. So here's what 3 of those little snow women look like. I really like these. Hope you enjoyed this video. Click that like button, subscribe, you know the drill. Love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Hey gang, Mark LeBlanc from Hey gang, Mark LeBlanc from the New Alley. God, I hate myself. Jeez, that was going so well. All right, let's try it again.